So we take up the chapter Making a Living, Rural Livelihoods and Urban Livelihoods. And in that, we are now on urban livelihoods. Last time we did the rural livelihoods. That means the work taken up by the villagers to earn their living. Now, today we take up urban livelihoods. An occupation is a trade or a job that is followed to earn money. We all know that to earn money, we need to take up any occupation, maybe a job, maybe a trade, anything. Now, the economic activities of people may be divided into three groups. That means, according to the work they do, we categorize them into three headings. They are the primary activities, then the secondary, and third is the tertiary. Now, please see this chart. You're supposed to draw this chart in your copies. Now, before we move on, let us see the primary activity. Primary occupations include agriculture, grazing of animals, lumbering, fishing, and mining. Now, these activities produce products from the natural resources. Most of the rural people are engaged in primary activities. That means any natural resource which is available, if that is put to use for the earning any job or taking up any occupation for the primary basic needs, then that is called the primary activity. Now, then we talk of the secondary activities. Secondary occupations are those which involve processing of primary products, such as agricultural products, minerals, fish,
Ma'am, your voice is coming very slowly.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
etc. We talk of them, the secondary activities, they simply mean that whatever the byproduct, whatever the main resource is, if we use that resource into some other work, that is called a secondary activity. Like example of it is the primary products which are produced if we use them into utility goods by hand or by machines, then it is called the secondary activity. Now, iron and steel industries, etc., all belong to the secondary occupation. Then textile industries turn cotton, wool, silk, jute, etc. into cloth. Likewise, iron is used in making a variety of machines, tools, furnitures, etc. So once the primary product is used and utilized in a different form, then it is called a secondary activity. Then third is the tertiary activity. The third type of occupation are the tertiary occupation in which no goods are produced, but people offer their services, like the teachers. We are not producing any goods, we are not manufacturing anything. So it is only that the services are imparted, like the bank service, like the teaching service, or the educational institutions. These are the tertiary activities. This type of occupation includes the provision of various services like education, so like transport, trade, etc. Of this comes under the tertiary occupation. Okay. Countries engage in different occupations are also interdependent. That means whatever occupation we are into, we are totally interdependent for our needs to be fulfilled because we need the various people to get this work, any work done. While those engaged in primary occupations provide food needed by the population and raw materials for those engaged in secondary occupations. Those who are engaged in secondary occupations provide finished products and machinery to the people engaged in primary and tertiary occupations. Persons engaged in tertiary occupations provide basic services like health facilities, water, education to all those who are engaged in primary and secondary occupation. So, from the given figure which is given here, it is clear that all economic activities, they are interrelated. That means a poor farmer who's producing the grains, he cannot survive all alone. So he has to depend on the whatever produce he's doing. The finished goods are returned back to him by secondary and tertiary. So the services are interdependent of each people. The people who are in secondary, they are dependent on primary and tertiary. The people who are in tertiary occupation, they are dependent on primary and secondary. So in this way, we know that all the three activities, they are interdependent. That means dependent on each other for their basic needs. Okay. Now, various types of livelihoods in urban areas. Let us see the types of ways in which urban areas, the people living in cities and towns, what kind of life do they follow to bring it to their economic status. Now, as in the case of rural areas, urban people also work in different fields to earn their livelihoods to meet their day to day and future requirements. So, they also need money, they also need to work to earn. So, let us see factory workers, businessmen, professionals such as clerks, nurses, doctors, teachers, lawyers, etc are the main people who live in towns and cities. We all know that the people living in towns and cities are these. Okay. Now there are, however, other people who follow different kinds of profession. So there are other people who follow different kinds of profession other than the ones which we have discussed just now. So they are hawkers, rickshaw pullers, taxi drivers, vegetable vendors, domestic servants, garment makers, etc. Apart from the doctors, teachers, lawyers, you must have seen in the city there are hawkers, there are rickshaw pullers, taxi drivers, all are indulged into one or the other occupation and they all come under the urban livelihood. Okay, please switch off this together mode for this where you're showing the backdrop also. Please come back to the normal one.
It's off.
No, it's not off.
It is,
Together mode I have cancelled, but the rest
Ma'am,
is
it
on.
is off.
Okay.
it is over.
Factory workers, factory workers play an important role in the progress of the company and earn their livelihood by working day and night. So we all know that factory workers, to earn their livelihood, they are living in a town or a city and they have to work day and night, irrespective of being monthly paid or daily wage. They all work hard and produce various things of daily use, such as cloth, hosiery articles, medicines, chemicals, food items, vehicles, etc. So various industries, various factories, they involve many people for indulging into various varieties of work that they take up. Then next is businessmen and shopkeepers are also busy in selling and buying different types of things from milk, the food items, vehicles, etc. And the food items, vegetables, sweets, books, and home theaters. Their number teachers, doctors, lawyers, policemen, postmen, clerks also, they also form a major part of the urban population. They serve society in their own ways. So we all know that there are different people doing different work, not only in rural areas but also in urban areas. Now, in addition to the above mentioned people, there are others who live in urban areas. These include you all must have known the domestic servants which we have, the vendors which come to your doorstep, then bank employees, then garment makers, taxi drivers, etc. So the vendors move from street to street and supply vegetables and fruits to the citizens at their doorstep. As the urban people lead a comfortable life, they engage domestic servants who help them in their household duties like doing cooking, washing, and cleaning of their rooms and houses. So all this is under urban livelihood. There's a large number of such other people who also form a part of the urban population, in spite of not being so well marked, living a poor life, yet they form a major part of the urban population. Is this much clear to each one of you? We stop here for today.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Thank you, class. Bye, class.